house of random, I wouldn't say useless, but just random stuff.
And you're going to Chili's to sit down with the fam, and a goddamn robot pulls up and tries to serve you. You're like, excuse me. I'd like to be a gallon of milk that expires, maybe the 23rd, the 24th, instead of, maybe the 15th, the 16th. You know what I'm saying?
What is up, everybody? My name would be Evan. You can call me E, Ev, Red, Captain Redbeard, Big Red Bastard, Red Rob Zombie, Ginger Jesus, fucking Ritz's son. We go by a whole bunch of names. What's up, everybody? Welcome back yet to another episode. Today is Saturday, February the 17th at approximately 11:52 p.m. But yeah, what's up, everybody? We are here at the tail end of another week, about to start up a new one. Um, yeah, how y'all doing? The Super Bowl, huh? How how was that? How did y'all like that? Me personally, um, oh, cheers. Me personally, since I have any skin in the game, Um, it was just fun to watch. I just enjoyed watching it. It was a close one. San Francisco, pretty good defense. From what I understand about football and all that, they had a pretty good defense, not letting Kansas City through and get a lot of plays in. And some of the fucking like flea flickers and shit like that, some of the plays they were doing, I thought that was really cool to see. Made the game really entertaining to watch. Um, but yeah, how about the fucking Super Bowl, huh? It was rigged. Rigged so that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey could get proposed and get married at the Super Bowl. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable, guy. Can you believe that? Can you believe the nerves of some people? Ugh, despicable, pal. But, but yeah, I thought it was fun. The halftime show was sick. Fucking Ludacris, Lil Jon, and fucking Usher all at the same time. Yeah, that was fucking fire. And then the roller skating girls and the fucking now the halftime show was sick. But yeah, that was a clincher of a game, huh? I know y'all Chiefs fans were on the edge of your seats during that shit. Uh, yeah, that was what a good game. But yeah, I just kicked up, had watched Super Bowl with the fam. It was funny because the place that we were, because we ordered pizza and wings, because you gotta do the classic. It's the Super Bowl. Get pizza, get wings, beer, whole nine, right? And the place that we ordered from, we decided, oh, we'll do online or do like through the phone or whatever. That way, it won't be as busy, and we'll just go in, pick it up, get out, right? Well, thought we were the only ones to do that, and so did everybody else. So I pull up to the joint at around the time when they said we were good to pick up the pizza, right? And or the stuffs. And I get there, swing open the door, dude standing right there. Like as soon as the door opens, fuck ton of people. Probably 15, 20 people in front of him. Because it's basically like you walk in and the counter is like a bar essentially. And so there's two different ways to get into it. You can go this way and you can go down this way. And I just walk in, they have a sign down towards like the left hand side of the counter that was like online pickups, blah, 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 whatever. Like come here to this part of the counter. And so I open the door and I'm looking and I see the people. I'm like, pick up, pick up, pick up. Like seeing if these other people were also waiting to pick up or if they're in the store or in the restaurant ordering or what. And they're all like, yeah, no, pick up, pick up. Everyone was there to fucking take a pickup. So I just got in line right behind dude, right in front of the fucking door. And yeah, just waited in line. It took a good probably, I wasn't timing it, but probably like 15, 20 minutes probably. And I was chopping it up with all the people in line with me. There's a dude probably around my age in front of me, and then like a DoorDash dude, in front of him, then like an elderly couple in front of that guy, and then like some dude behind me. And we're all chopping it up with each other, talking throughout the line as we're waiting to get our shit. And it was kind of funny because the more time that we had spent in the line, the more like veterans we were of the situation. So like we moved up, let's say like 6 feet from the door, and we already know what's going on. And so we see some people walk in. We're like, oh, is this going to be a DoorDasher? Is this going to be a pickup person? Is this going to be like a sitting down to order kind of person? And like the looks on everybody's face when they open the door, see a big ass line, like pick up, and everyone's like pick up, and they're like, oh, fuck, now I have to stand in this line, right? But yeah, so there's a line going this way, and then there was another like pseudo line, I guess, where because they had the bar that they took the orders at, and then the back is where they made everything, and so there's like this little open like breezeway, if you will, that they brought the shit out from. So then DoorDash people and like third party delivery people just started like basically crowding the area where the people come in and out with the food and deliveries and stuff like that. And they just kind of started swarming that. So then people would come in from DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, and then they would see other people like gathering over in this area. So then they would migrate over there, right? And then you had some other people, some other customers that weren't doing third party delivery that were also like going over there. And it got to a point where somebody like basically yelled at them, like, all right, I need everybody to back up like 3 feet. You're doing a single file line, blah, 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 blah. People are like groaning, like, oh, my pizza. And they're just these poor people. Oh my God. I told the girl that helped with my order, like I thanked her. It was basically like thank you for your service, because they were, bro. It was a big ass counter, right? Think of like an old like bar, right? But instead of there being shelves and a whole bunch of drinks, it was just a countertop, and like a quarter of it just a whole bunch of pizza boxes, empty pizza boxes, but pizza boxes stacked up ready to get used, and then just 3/4 of this big ass like 15-foot bar, just bagged up orders, stacked up orders. There's numbers written on these boxes. Like it was pandemonium. And they're screaming names, they're screaming numbers. They have people at the phones popping off. So meanwhile they're at the register with the person. It happened to me. Like I'm at the register, and then hi, thank you for calling. I have to put you on a short hold, okay? And then fucking hang up and put them on hold. Like it was super hectic, super busy. So I'm chopping it up with the people. At one point, the dude I'm standing with in line, he goes to the bathroom. He's like, "Hey man, can you like watch my spot for me?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I got you, bro." He's like, "Thanks, man. Knowing the rate this is going, like we'll move and like 20 more people will come in. I just don't want to miss my spot." I was like, "Yeah, I got you, bro. Like I'm not gonna fucking just take your like spot like that. Like you're good, bro. I'll go use the bathroom." So then, he goes to the bathroom, comes back, he's like, "Oh, thanks, man, thanks." And we're chopping it up a little bit more. Um, but yeah, because of all in the midst of all the chaos and confusion, didn't know till I got home. So I get handed, we ordered 24 wings and a large pizza and a small cheese pizza, like a large pepperoni and a small cheese pizza, right? So I think, yeah, at first I get handed 2 boxes that had the wings, right? And then after that, I got handed the small pizza and then the large pizza. And then I was like, thank you for your service. And I went on my merry way. Fast forward, I get home, and we're busting open all the boxes. We got a 24 count of hot barbecue. Or, yeah, it was like hot barbecue. Really great flavor. Bust that puppy open. Boom. Beautiful pile of mountains smothered in barbecue. Just chef's kiss, right? So then I crack open the second wing box. Crack it open. Boom. Bright orange, atomic orange, Buffalo. And we're like, huh? We look at each other like, huh? And then I look and there's a receipt attached to the box. Sorry, Javier. I got you. I got your 12 count of buffalo nachos. If it's any consolation, they're really fire, dude. But I'm sorry. It's not. I'm not saying to pin the blame on anybody, but it wasn't my fault. I was just waiting at the counter. Shotty gave me some boxes, gave me some more boxes, told me adios, and I said adios. But yeah, it wasn't until I got home and we cracked open the grub, looked at the haul, and realized, oh shit, we got an extra 12 set of wings. So your boy was macking on them buffalo wings. You bet your fucking bippy pal. So yeah, we had a good Super Bowl Sunday. Got nice and faded, watching the game, posted up like this, just yeah, ooh. My mom was getting the Uber into the game, which I thought was really funny. Like she's screaming and hooting and hollering at the TV as if she's like a lifelong fan's got money on the game. She's like, "Come on, fucker, drive the ball down the field. Come on!" And then like somebody would San Francisco would score, just whoa yeah, whoa yeah, and just clap it. I love it. Honestly, I love my mom so much. She is means the world to me. But yeah, it was so cute and so much fun watching the game with her. Like I said, the halftime show was fire, vibing along with the halftime show. And yeah, go Chiefs. They did it. Patty Mahomes, back to back champion. First time that's been done that a team has won the Super Bowl back to back in like 20 years or some shit like that. So I guess Patty Mahomes is just Patty Mahimothy. Sorry, sweaties. Sorry. But yeah, I had a really good weekend. And I think it might have been Super Bowl Sunday. So, unfortunately, I did not get a Valentine's flash piece yesterday on the 16th. Um, I think, yeah, it had to have been on Sunday. It had to have been Sunday, I think. Um, I accidentally left my daylight running lights on my car. I didn't put the light knob all the way off, so I didn't even notice or even remember. I didn't intentionally turn it on, but I don't remember bumping into it or anything like that. But basically, my light knob was switched like on, not fully on, but just on a little bit, and it was on for about 4 hours because I got home a little after 2 something, and then my mom got home at like 6 something. No, was it? Maybe it was Saturday. I know there's like a 4 hour gap between when I had gotten home and then my mom had said something because she had noticed when she had gotten home. But okay, timeline doesn't matter. So it's about 4 hours, and my mom comes in my room, like, "Hey, dude, your lights are on in your car." I was like, "What? Fuck." So then I got out to the car, and sure as shit, like not the actual headlights, but like the secondary part and the headlights, those are still on. I'm like, fuck. So then I go to turn them off, and as soon as I go like that, it goes tick, 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 tick. Like starts ticking a whole bunch. And I knew immediately that wasn't good. So I'm like, fuck. So I killed my battery. So then I think it was probably the next day, my mom and I, or maybe it was Saturday, the next day, excuse me, my mom and I try and give me a jump in the driveway to no avail. Turn it, nothing happens. Tick, 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 tick. So I'm like, fuck. So then for a good portion of the week, yeah, pretty much Monday till Thursday. Yeah, Monday through Thursday. Or Monday up until Thursday, or Sunday up until Thursday. From the weekend up until Thursday, I had to like carpool, get dropped off, do some kind of schedule because my car didn't have a battery. So then my mom was telling me about she had recently gotten a new battery in her car, and granted, her car is a decade newer than mine, so different cars, different dates or whatever. But anyway, she's like, "Oh yeah, my car battery was like $75 at Wally World. We'll just look something up and we'll get it taken care of." I'm like, "All right, bet, cool." Now keep in mind, I have a 2006 Ford Taurus. You can go look that up. It's a sexy, sexy vehicle. But basically, think of like a grandma car, just a 4-door sedan, just nothing too crazy, nothing exotic. And so I'm looking at Wally World and putting in the plunking in all the data that they need to find the battery. They don't have a battery. They got nothing. So I'm like, all right, cool. Wally World ain't got shit. So then I'm going to like car auto parts places, And basically, the only option for a new battery was like 200 bones. Yeah. Yeah, it was like $200 to get a new battery for my car, and that's where most of my money went from my paycheck was to that. So what ended up happening was that so they have a credit thing that when you bring in an old battery, it takes it's like called a core credit, and it takes off money that when you get charged for the next battery or when you get a new battery. So I got 20 something bucks taken off from that, and then they had a cheeky fucking thing. So they had an online promotion for like President's Day, which I don't even know what fucking day President's Day is, but it's a promotion, a sales promotion of the weekend for President's Day. And it's like from this time to this time only, spend $100 or more online, and then use shipping, and then get $20 off or 20% off the order or whatever. So long story short, we find out that the order thing, in order to do that, doesn't you can't ship a battery, and it didn't pertain to batteries. So like the $180 battery that I had to buy, I couldn't use the fucking 20% off coupon for it because it didn't fit the parameters of the sale or whatever the fuck. So me and my mom were really just deflated about that because our whole game plan was like, all right, we'll use the core credit, that'll take 20 bucks off. Then we'll use the 20%, that'll take another like 50 bucks off or something like that. So then you'll have to pay around like 150 bucks plus tax, whatever, instead of the full like 200 plus tax. So then we get down to the store, and we're telling the dude there our problem, and then he does some more deep diving, and he's the one that finds out through scrolling way too far on the tiny little print on the terms and conditions that it excluded batteries and shit like that, because we found out through trying to do it online that we couldn't obviously ship the battery. We couldn't pick the option to ship it. And the whole point of the deal was if you clicked shipping, that's how you get the discount. So we're explaining it to the dude, like, yeah, man, we're trying to get, expensive car battery, trying to get the percent off, blah, 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 blah. And long story short, the dude was able to, thankfully, it was really chill, was able to, like, give us the discount in the store. And then when it was all said and done, with including taxes and everything, it was like 165 bucks, which still hurt. But yeah, that was basically like a good chunk of my paycheck, and then I had other shit that I had to buy, like gas, and hell, I haven't even gotten. Oh, I still haven't gotten toiletries and shit like that. There's just a whole bunch of other shit that I had to get. I was not banking on having to buy a new car battery, and was not banking on having to spend like 160 bucks. So I sadly didn't get a new piece because I didn't have the money for it. Or if I did, it would have been literally all my money for it. And I'm a degen, but I'm not that much of a degen. So, yeah, a little bit sad. Single tear, didn't get a new piece, but it's okay. It was kind of last minute anyway, and I only found out about it like a week and some change before it was going to happen. So it's not like I was dead set on doing it. But I am more disappointed. I filmed a cannabis video, and part of the reason why I took yesterday off was to make this video, and I just did not like the way it came out. It was, yeah, I just did not like the way it came out, and I'm contemplating deleting it, or I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with it. So I kind of felt meh about yesterday, because yesterday feels and felt like a wash, because I woke up late relatively, and to my mom waking me up, and then she wanted to spend time with me and stuff. And I was like, all right, cool, let me bang out this video real quick, and then we'll spend some time with each other. Because that's my whole goal of yesterday, and why I had it off was to do the video. So then I spend like 45 minutes, an hour doing the video, not really liking the result of the video. Then fast forward, and like a few hours goes by, and then I finally hang out with my mom. I'm like, damn, I kind of wanted to hang out with her like a while ago. Like I could have been hanging out with her for a minute. So it's just the fact that, just I don't know. It felt like a wash. I didn't like how the video came out, or at least what was in the video thus far, and I'm not really bothered to finish it. I'll probably just scrap it. I'm not really in the mood. But yeah, yesterday just kind of felt like a wash because the one thing I was supposed to do, or the one thing that was the main objective of the day, I didn't really do it, and I'm not really satisfied with it. But yeah, then my sister sadly leaves in a week from today, so I'll probably record an episode early. I'll probably record an episode next Friday because she leaves, I think, Saturday. So yeah, I'm very big sad about that. Big time sad about that. My little baby sister, she's moving out of the nest. And not only is she just moving out of the house, motherfucker's going to a whole new state. So that's crazy. She's like, no, move out? What if I moved out to a whole new state? How about that? So that's scary and exciting and a whole bunch of things. And it still doesn't feel real. And even right now, sitting talking about it doesn't feel real, but it kind of hit last night. I was kind of in my feelings last night and just, I don't know. It's a BFD because we've lived in this house. My sister and I have lived in this house pretty much our whole lives. Her whole life, and then I was like 1 before we got this house. So basically my whole life. And yeah, I will be 25 this year. And let's see. Ew. She's gonna be 23 this year. That's disgusting. Ew. So yeah, she's 22 right now, and she's moving out of the nest. And I mean, it's just a lot of feelings and emotions. I'm excited for her, yeah, and I knew that this day would eventually come because she's very independent and very, I don't know, just do it herself and very self-sufficient, and just especially this past almost 2 years when she got the job that I eventually got as well, working at this grocery store. She's always been more mature for her age, but especially as she's gotten older and into young adulthood, she's just been like, she has like the mentality of like a 30-year-old in her early 20s. So I knew that she would always be the first one to move out, so I'm not surprised. But at the same time, I'm just not ready for it because, yeah, she's not just moving to the other side of town or moving to another city in the state. She's going to a whole other state, like 8+ hours away, and or maybe not 8+, maybe like 7 to 8 hours away. And she's taking one of our kitties with her. And yeah, I don't know. I've been used to our work schedule being the like complete opposite. So I'm used to not seeing her all that often, right? Unfortunately, I've gotten used to us not really seeing each other that much. But to know that in a week, that feeling of like not seeing each other is gonna be like prolonged, and it's not just gonna be like, oh, I'll see her tomorrow, or I'll see her in a couple days. Like, it's just gonna be me and my mom and her boyfriend, and yeah, it still doesn't feel real, and I'm not ready for it. And like, yeah, she's quitting where she's working, a store that we work at. So then I'm gonna be working without her. Not that we work together in any capacity, like in the same department, but like she's part of the reason I got my job to begin with. Like, she's part of the people that like helped hook it up and put in a word for me, and it just feels weird knowing that I'll be here doing the same shit and that she's not, and that she's gonna be doing something completely different. And if anything, that kind of just motivates and drives me even more to want to quit this job. Because, I don't know. I felt in previous times when people have left, like coworkers and stuff have left, I felt like, okay, I could quit this job. Like, all the cool people left, basically. But now, especially with my own sister leaving, and it's like, damn, bro, I really don't want to be here anymore. You know, not to say that I was at that job because of her, but yeah, it just feels weird. Like she's the reason why I got that job, and then not gonna see her cute little slug bug in the parking lot. I'm not gonna see her like intermittently. Yeah, and even thinking about it right now just bums me out, makes me sad. And it's hard to believe that it's a week from today. Like I've said before, you know, dates and plans and stuff in the future, they don't feel tangible, they don't feel real until it becomes a date on the calendar to a date. Like it goes from being the fucking Tuesday, Friday the 12th to then, oh, next Wednesday, next Friday, you know? So like I've known going into this since the end of last year. She's like, I'm gonna leave early, sometimes early next year, and then coming into this year, she's like, yeah, probably like late February. But here we are. It's the 17th, and next week it's gonna be late February, and the beginning of February, the beginning of later February. But yeah, I'm sad, man. None of us has moved out or had to do any of this yet. And she's just doing a really big version of it. Like I said, she's not moving to the other side of the city or going to a different city in the state. She's going to a whole different state, a whole different city. So it's gonna be big time move. But I'm excited for her, and I know it's ultimately the best for her and best for Clementine, the kitty that she's taken. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna miss her, man. And I guess it'll just be more motivation, like I said, to get my shit together because I want to go out and visit her and see her, and be with her, and have her visit us and come out and down here and visit. You know, like it just sucks because I know what it feels like and I know how easy it is to fall out of touch with people. I mean, even living with her, there'd be times where it would be like people I'd work with or her friends would see her more or know more of what she's doing than I would, right? And that's when I live with her in the same physical place. So I know between new job, a new place, new city, new life, it's going to be more difficult to be tapped in. Oh, and bro, we got to finish Attack on. I'm not emotionally ready for this, bro. We got to finish Attack on Titan. We've been watching Attack on Titan. Hell, we've been watching it together before they even released or finished the fourth season, and then we stopped, and then they finished the fourth season. The fourth season is the last season of Attack on Titan. Oh, we have to finish AOT. I'm gonna be so fucking emotional, bro. Oh my god, just think about it right now. Just finishing AOT and then having her leave, bro. It's making me almost tear up right now. I don't. Ugh, fuck, man. Go watch Attack on Titan. Really, 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 really good show. But yeah, Kaylin and I have been watching this show for a couple years at this point. Like it's been a minute. Like we've been watching this shit for a minute. Ugh. Fuck. Now I'm sad. Now I'm thinking like I'm gonna have to finish that great show and be done with that and the feelings of that, and then having Kaylin leaving, the feelings of that compounded together. I just I'm excited, but I'm also sad. Yeah, I'm excited and sad. Water is so busted. Like I said before, shout out hydrogen, shout out oxygen, shout out them together in combination. Oh man. Let's see. What do we have? Okay, yes. So, this is something I want to mention a couple episodes ago, but I totally forgot about it. So, the mayor of Amsterdam believes selling and using cocaine should no longer be criminalized. Yes, you heard that right. The mayor of Amsterdam believes selling and using cocaine should no longer be criminalized. The sale and use of cocaine and other drugs should no longer be a punishable offense, said Amsterdam Mayor Femke Halsema in an interview in the Financieel Dagblad. According to the mayor, the fight against drugs is, quote, perverse and counterproductive. She wants drug markets to be regulated to undermine the revenue model of, quote, unscrupulous criminals, she told FD. She told FD. Justice Minister Dilan, not even going to try and pronounce that, responded saying Halsema's proposal is without merit. Halsema does not advocate for the rash legalization of cocaine, but for regulating the drug, her spokesperson said. This would cut off the reason for criminals to take part in drug trafficking. The spokesperson noted this is already happening in the Dutch government's cannabis cultivation pilot project, where cannabis is legally supplied to coffee shops. So yeah, I thought that was pretty fucking based, because yeah, if you decriminalize and you regulate these substances rather than legalizing and outlawing them, what you do is you take away the power and control that the black markets and that the drug organizations have, right? Because if you make it illicit and you put it underground to where only a certain group of people can control, make, or have it, excuse me, and that leads to very bad things like criminal organizations and cartel groups basically doing what they're doing now, where they're making the drugs, manufacturing the drugs, cutting the drugs, distributing the drugs, selling them, all that kind of shit. That's how you're getting your fent and your coke, fent and your molly, fent and pretty much everything, because the people that are producing and controlling and distributing them are the ones that can also cut them with whatever bullshit. And like they pointed out with that, with the cannabis, and this is pointed out fucking years ago. I remember watching a Vice video about it years back, and it was literally like dudes in the Sinaloa cartel talking about how pretty much in the mid 2010s, when more states were really popping off with the legalization of cannabis, especially states like California, I think Arizona was a little bit later, but uh, the more states that were legalizing and had legal weed stateside, it basically made the need for the illicit market, especially in Mexico, for cannabis to be non-existent. And they straight up said that the people, like, they're growing better shit, they have better shit their side of the border. It's logistically doesn't make sense for them because it's smelly, takes up a lot of space, it's hard, the quality isn't the best, all these things, right? Meanwhile, some dude stateside can grow some fire shit in his closet and put that on the black market and people can smoke that. So the cartels straight up just stopped trying to send weed over the border and smuggling weed because the legal markets that were regulated and tested and controlled had better quality product that was safe and tested and regulated than what the streets could provide illicitly in black market. Because it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business. So if it's not going to make money, they're not going to fucking do it. So if you take something more illicit like cocaine, for example, right, and you make like a dispo for cocaine, right, but you can make sure it's this quality and make sure it's with this and testing and all that kind of stuff. And, not necessarily, like I said, a dispo for cocaine, but more of just regulated market for it or a decriminalized market for it. I mean, they already do it at certain festivals, which I think is also a great idea. Is they do drug testing at festivals, so there's no punishment or anything like that. But you can go to a medical tent, essentially, take a little bit of a substance you have. They will professionally test it to see what's in that substance to make sure that whatever you're ingesting is supposed to be what you are intending to ingest. And they've saved a lot of people. And this is all under the umbrella of harm reduction because obviously, as we've seen, the war on drugs failed. It doesn't work. People just say no, doesn't work. Prohibition doesn't work. People are going to do what people want to do. It's just a matter of making it the safest means possible for these people to do it, right? So it's not about enabling or promoting people doing it. It's making sure that the avenues that people have to access and do these things are the safest, cleanest as possible. Because inversely, making making things the safest and the, I guess, best all over or all around on the user's end when it comes to substances as a whole will benefit everyone in society, right? It's like when you have these places where, you know, dirty needles, for example, can be a huge issue, and you can have a rampant amount of STIs or other infectious diseases going around because people are sharing needles and don't have access to clean ones, this, that, and the third. Just by offering needle clinics or programs in which people can get access to clean needles, that drops the rate of these infectious diseases and stuff like that from spreading dramatically and drastically. And it's stuff like that, just little things like that, that we can do that can help these people with it, not enabling them or promoting them to do it, but giving them the tools to most safely do what it is that they're going to do. Because again, you can't stop somebody from doing something that they are going to do or what they want to do. People, animals, creatures. I talked about it last week when in the book. The forbidden fruit is the sweetest, right? So instead of telling somebody and punishing people, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do this, we should instead set up an avenue, a safety net, whatever, to make sure that whatever they are doing, no matter how dangerous it may be, it is the safest version of them being able to do that, right? Like it's dangerous for people to drink, right, and be out in public, but we have services like Uber, taxis, Lyfts, where an impaired person can get transportation and go home or go to wherever they need to go, right? Shit like that. So we can have clinics. Like I've been so pro this, but Europe, like certain European countries have like clinics, and even certain cities in America, like maybe more like California. I'm not sure necessarily on the East Coast, but there have been certain places that have tried like drug clinics essentially, or places that are just offer a clean, safe place for people to use that also offer supplies for these people. And I think those are huge in helping um, just the community and helping people in general. I know some of these places also have on site like counselors and therapists as well in the facilities. So it's not just some place for people to shoot up and whatever. They can go there as well as maybe even seek help and treatment or get that first step in the door. Because sometimes you'll hear from interviews from these people that they want to, but there's this, that, or the third preventing them, and there's sometimes all that's in the way of trying to help somebody, or all that's in the way of preventing help from somebody, is just that one little hurdle, that one little step. And having somebody in the facility right there that can give them that first step without the little hurdle, I think is absolutely huge and pivotal in helping people actually be rehabilitated and get off of these substances and actually try and just overall get better. Because, like I said, it's not promoting the use of substances, it's just acknowledging the reality that people do substances and will do substances, and making it the safest environment possible for both the users and society as a whole. And like with having a facility where people can go to use, not only is the equipment clean, but then there won't be like needles everywhere and caps and all the shit that you see, that the paraphernalia that's tied with doing drugs. Because instead of them doing it underneath a fucking tunnel or on the side of the road or something like that, they would be ideally in a facility where they They have access, medical people are on standby, and they have clean utensils to use, and all the stuff that they use in paraphernalia would be able to be disposed of safely instead of distributed on the street. So I think that's really cool that a government official is starting to have this idea and have this stance that, like, yeah, the old way and the old thoughts of how we were doing shit and how we're running shit isn't really working and isn't really that effective, and we're kind of wasting a lot of time and money, and we're looking at other programs and other things that are effective and that are being shown to work more. So why don't we lean towards those and lean towards something that might work instead of just keep doing the thing that doesn't work and that hasn't shown to be working at all in the past? Crazy novel idea, trying something new when it seems like the thing you've been doing doesn't work. But look at us trying novel ideas, right? But no, I thought something like that would be really fucking cool. So W fucking mayor of Amsterdam, and of course Amsterdam too. When I think of Amsterdam, I think of your cannabis lounges. I think about truffles. I just think about drugs, the gray market of, like, it's in a coffee shop, but it's not legal, but it's here, but blah, blah, blah. And like a truffle, it still contains psilocybin, but it's a lump of mycelium that grows under the ground and doesn't sprout. Therefore, it's completely legal. Like, I think of that. So, of course, I feel like Amsterdam would be like, yeah, legalize cocaine. Fuck yeah, let's do it. Give me my medical cocaine, please. Oh, and I was talking to my mom yesterday. So prepare for a bellowous laugh. So those little shitheads, the directors, what's their face? What's their faces? Give me their faces. I need their faces. What are their faces? Oh, their faces. Give me their faces. Let me look at your face. What's your face look like? Yes. So the Game of Thrones directors, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, right? They rushed the last season of Game of Thrones to go fuck off and do some other project, right? Well, I was talking to my mom yesterday because I was wondering. I had a high thought. I was like, hey, because I was watching over the podcast from last week, and I got to the part where I said, I'm gonna have a rich, bellowous laugh if I find out that the project that they left Game of Thrones to go do or leave or whatever is a flop or whatever like that. Maybe God would be real if that exists, or that's like a poetic justice or whatever, right? Right. So it turns out that maybe God is real. Do you guys heard a little tune going by the name of Confederate? Yeah, Confederate. No? You hadn't heard of it? Okay, yeah, don't worry, don't worry. I'll tell you why you hadn't heard of it, right? So the dudes that made Game of Thrones, super hot, big pinnacle TV show, right? Right, right. Season 7 ended in 2017, right? Season 8 was 2019. So 2 years between the 7th season and the 8th season. A lot of hype. It's a big fucking show. Big time, right? The directors of that, they decided rush Game of Thrones, move on to this project called Confederate. Now you might be asking, yeah, what? You don't know about Confederate? Well, that's not surprising. From conception to cancellation, the series hit every pothole along the way, from scathing online outrage to writers and producers too involved in other projects to focus on this one, to simply the worst possible climate to announce the series. Let's take a history of Confederate, the show that never was. So, Confederate was the brainchild of Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Originally wanted the story to be a feature film before realizing that a TV series would provide more space to explore their idea. The series was announced in July of 2017, and it was planned to start in 2019 once the Game of Thrones series had ended. So yeah, they basically rushed to finish Game of Thrones in 2019 so that they could then go do their shitty little Confederate project. So At the time of the announcement, the production team consisted of Benioff, Weiss, Nichelle, Trumbull Spellman, Malcolm Spellman, Carolyn Strauss, Bernadette Caulfield, with Benioff wife and the Spellmans, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So the plot of the series, as stated by Benioff, was inspired by a story about Robert E. Lee's invasion of the North during the Civil War, where his written orders had fallen into the hands of a Northern soldier and ruined his plan. Confederate was meant to explore what would have happened if those plans had never been found by the North and Lee's invasion had been successful. The series takes place in an alternate historical timeline where the South had successfully seceded from the Union and thus slavery remained legal, creating a modern institution that has lasted leading into the events of the Third Civil War. The show is meant to tell the stories of a number of characters from both the Union and the South, including abolitionists, journalists, hunters, freedom fighters, slavers, and the enslaved. As of 2020, the show has been entirely scrapped. Why, you might ask? As with most things, it started on Twitter. It was announced in 2017. It received heavy backlash from the internet with the campaign #NoConfederate on Twitter, stating that this person, April Rain, lacked confidence in the director's ability to handle the show due to the lack of diversity and gratuitous sexual violence in their other series, Game of Thrones. Her concerns were voiced by many other users on Twitter, blah, 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 many of the critiques revolving around whether Weiss and Benioff were the right people to write and produce a show like Confederate and what purpose the series even had being made, with some calling the premise wish fulfillment for white supremacists and others saying there's no reason to depict modern slavery in a science fiction genre when the country being affected by the past wounds of slavery is still very much a real issue. Yeah, and then some other person pointed out that black people don't need fictional stories to remind them that the history and effects of racism are still a problem in the real world. In addition, they voiced concerns that the directors about writing the series and their previous projects have shown an inability to handle subject matters, emotional trauma, abuse, and race. Blah 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 blah. Let's see. So yeah, basically just a lot of people online like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do this, Chief. Mm. So the Spellmans, along with the HBO CEO, admitted that the rollout and the announcement was poorly done and did little to quell the rage it produced. After the announcement, Benioff and Weiss, along with the Spellmans, encouraged people to hold off on passing judgment until the pilot premiered. However, at this point, public perception of the series is already bruised. So the announcement of Confederate came at a point of high tension as well. The year prior saw Donald Trump win one of the most intense presidential elections in modern history and modern memory. The BLM movement was continuing to gain momentum as reports of police brutality against black people continued to increase. And then every year, the number of school reports and stuff about them fucking up the history. Oh yeah, this was also bad timing too. In addition to all these events, there was also a significant gathering of white supremacists in Charlottesville and Virginia, only a month after the announcement of the series, the Unite the Right rally. As this event took place, many pointed out to Confederate as an example of the kind of media that encouraged ideas of racism and white supremacy. It was described as a white supremacist fantasy and slavery fanfic, and many people became concerned that the series would only cause more intense hatred upon its creation and release. HBO did release a statement regarding this, saying that its team understood the sensitive nature of the product and would do everything it could to ensure that it be handled with respect. Yeah, though not as socially important as the other points, blah, 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 blah. Oh, they're working on a Disney Star Wars trilogy as well. Oh my god. Had to delay production of the series as they worked on the Disney Star Wars trilogy upon the end of the Game of Thrones series. Jesus Christ. Yep. So shortly after beginning work on those films, they cut ties with HBO and signed a $200 million deal with Netflix. And by 2020, HBO officially scrapped Confederate as a project, as its original creators and producers no longer had any ties to the network. So in the end, the cancellation perhaps had little to do with online backlash and more to do with the staff of the project simply moving away from the company. Yeah, so fuck y'all. Y'all motherfuckers thought it'd be cute to just, what if we just like rushed this TV show so we could go fuck off and make this other thing we want to do? I'm glad your stupid, shitty little TV show never took off. Yeah, kind of bad optics to make a TV show about, like, hey, what if the South won? And what if slavery was still a fucking thing? And then you have, like, yeah, the fucking Charlottesville shit and white supremacists running people over with cars and shit. And Jews will not replace us. Like, yeah, kind of bad optics, pal. Yeah, maybe probably shouldn't do a movie like that or a TV show like that. Sorry, Charlie. So, yeah, fuck y'all. Does it make it better that y'all fucked up Game of Thrones? No. But does it make me feel a little bit better that what you fucked Game of Thrones for got fucked over and didn't come to happen? That does make me feel a little bit better. Should have finished Game of Thrones, but fuck you for not being able to finish your stupid little project because, yeah, fuck y'all. So that made me feel good. That was a little heartwarming, like, yes, yes, fuck these guys, yes. Because, yeah, I knew it was bad because I didn't even hear Confederate until I looked it up. First of all, I looked up the names of the people, the two director dudes of the Game of Thrones. And then I was like, okay, that's their fucking names. And then I looked up what projects they did after Game of Thrones. And that's the fucker that they left Game of Thrones to do. So, fuck y'all. Fuck your Confederate bullshit. I'm glad that shit failed. I piss on it. Yeah, fuck y'all. Basically. Let's see. Do we have anything schmelz? Let's see. I think that might have. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's everybody. Yeah. So yeah, did the car battery instead of gotten a new tattoo. Confederate was a fucking flop. Yeah, and here we are. We're at the end of a week. Like I said, it's the 17th. Tomorrow's Sunday, so this will be uploaded tomorrow at some point. Yeah, fuck. And then we'll keep on chugging. We'll take a nice little inhale of some sage. Get the holy incense lighted here. We got the boys in blue working overtime tonight. All right. They're coming for me. Oh no. I remember back in the day in high school, like especially around when I first started smoking, I'd be smoking out like in a wash or in a fucking alley or backyard or some shit like that. And I'd hear fucking police sirens be like, oh shit, dude, they're coming for us, dude. Oh fuck, they're coming for us, dude. Just imagine POV like cherries and berries start like coming back there. Oh, it's crazy. In the last video, last podcast, last week's episode, y'all didn't really hear the rain. The rain was really fucking loud. I thought the mic would have picked that up, and they didn't really pick up the chopper at all, the ghetto bird at all, bro. The pork chop was fluff, 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 like right above me. Some of it got picked up when it was like a little bit closer, but it was fucking loud, and I'm surprised this mic didn't pick it up. But without further ado, I hope y'all are ripping with me. I hope y'all are sipping with me, tripping with me. To all my sober soldiers out there, I salute y'all. And yeah, cheers, everybody. Smoking on some Fire Unknown. I got like 3 or 4 strains, and I lost track of what they are at this point. It's just some shit in a jar, some shit in a pill bottle, some shit in a bag. That's all I really know. Well, let's see. We've been yapping for like an hour, probably. Yeah, I've been yapping for about an hour. So let's get into some fucking circle time reading, shall we? Damn, look at us. We're getting a decent bit through the book here. That's like a third through there. Sheesh. Page 91. Let's go. Or I assume I probably read the last page, right? Honestly, I don't remember if I read the last page or not. So I'll read the last page and then get into the new one. Yeah, an L Mike for fucking dying or not halfway. It's like the last part of the other podcast. So I made sure this bitch is all charged up. But L Mike for dying and just having to use the phone audio, but whatever. Shit happens. When a person, by their reprehensible behavior, practically cries out to be destroyed, it is truly your moral obligation to indulge them their wish. The person who takes every opportunity to pick on others is often mistakenly called sadistic. In reality, this person is a misdirected masochist who is working toward their own destruction. The reason a person viciously strikes out against you is because they're afraid of you or what you represent, or are resentful of your happiness. They are weak, insecure, and on extremely shaky ground when you throw your curse, and they make ideal human sacrifices. It is sometimes easy to overlook the actual wrongdoing of the victim of your curse when one considers how unhappy a person really is. It is not so easy, though, to retrace the damaging footsteps of your antagonist and make those practical situations he or she has made wrong. The quote, ideal sacrifice may be emotionally insecure, but nonetheless can, in the machinations of their insecurity, cause severe damage to your tranquility or sound reputation. Quote, mental illness, nervous breakdown, maladjustment, anxiety neuroses, broken home, sibling rivalry, etc., ad infinitum, have too long been convenient excuses for vicious and irresponsible actions. Anyone who says, we must try to understand those who make life miserable for those. Oh, yeah. You must try to understand those who make life miserable for those undeserving of misery is aiding and abetting a social cancer. The apologists for these rabid humans deserve any clobberings they get at the hands of their charges. Mad dogs are destroyed, and they need help far more than the human who conveniently froths at the mouth when irrational behavior is in order. It is easy to say, so what? These people are insecure, so they can't hurt me. But the fact remains, given the opportunity, they would destroy you. Therefore, you have every right to, in a video game, destroy them. And if your curse provokes their actual annihilation, rejoice that you've been instrumental in ridding the world of a pest. If your success or happiness disturbs a person, you owe them nothing. They are made to be trampled underfoot. If people had to take the consequences of their own actions, they would think twice. So now we are caught up. Yeah, I remember that. Talking about, annihilation and all that. I remember. Life after death through fulfillment of ego. Man is aware that he will die someday. Other animals, when nearing death, know they are about to die. But it is not until death is certain that the animal senses his coming departure from this world. And even then, he does not know exactly what is entailed by dying. It is often pointed out that animals accept death gracefully, without fear or resistance. This is a beautiful concept, but one that only holds true in cases where death for the animal is unavoidable. When an animal is sick or injured, they will fight for their life with every ounce of strength they have left. It is this unshakable will to live that, if man were not so highly evolved, would also give them the fighting spirit they need to stay alive. It is a well known fact that many people die simply because they give up and just don't care anymore. This is understandable if the person's very ill with no apparent chance of recovery. This is often not the case. Man has become lazy. They had learned to take the easy way out. Even suicide has become less repugnant to many people than any number of other sins. Religion is totally to blame for this. Death in most religions is touted as a great spiritual awakening, one which is prepared for throughout life. This concept is very appealing to one who has not had a satisfactory life, but to those who have experienced all the joys life has to offer. There is a great dread attached to dying. This is as it should be. It is this lust for life which will allow the vital person to live on after the inevitable death of his fleshy shell. History shows that men who have given their own lives in pursuit of an ideal have been deified for their martyrdom. Religionists and political leaders have been very crafty in laying their plans. By holding the martyr up as a shining example to their fellow man, they eliminate the common sense reaction that willful self destruction goes against all animal logic. To the Satanist, martyrdom and non personalized heroism is to be associated not with integrity, but with stupidity. This, of course, does not apply in situations which involve the safety of a loved one, but to give one's own life for something as impersonal as a political or religious issue is the ultimate in masochism. Life is the one great indulgence, death the one great abstinence. To a person who is satisfied with their earthly existence, life is like a party, and no one likes to leave a good party. By the same token, if a person's enjoying themselves here on earth, they will not so readily give up this life for the promise of an afterlife about which they know nothing. The Eastern mystical beliefs teach humans to discipline themselves against any conscious will for success, so they might dissolve themselves into, quote, universal cosmic awareness, end quote. Anything to avoid good, healthy satisfaction or honest pride in earthly accomplishments. It is interesting to note that the areas in which this type of belief flourishes are those where material gains are not easily obtainable. For this reason, the predominant religious belief must be one which commends its followers for their rejection of material things and their avoidance of the use of labels, which attaches a certain amount of importance to material gains. In this way, the people can be pacified into accepting their lot, no matter how small it may be. Satanism uses many labels. If it were not for names, very few of us would understand anything in life, much less attach any significance to it. And significance compels recognition, which is something everyone wants, especially the Eastern mystic who tries to prove to everyone how he can meditate longer, or stand more deprivation and pain than the next fellow. The Eastern philosophies preach the dissolution of a man's ego before he can produce sins. It's unfathomable to the Satanist to conceive of an ego which would willfully choose denial of itself. In countries where this is used as a sop for the willingly impoverished, it is understandable that a philosophy which teaches the denial of the ego would serve a useful purpose, at least for those in power, to whom it would be detrimental if their people were discontented. But for anyone who has every opportunity for material gain, to choose this form of religious thought seems foolish indeed. The Eastern mysticists believe strongly in reincarnation. To a person who has virtually nothing in their life, the possibility that they may have been a king in a past life, or maybe one in the next life, is very attractive, and does much to appease their needs of self-respect. If there is something, or if there is nothing in which they can take pride in this life, they can console themselves by thinking, there are always infinite lives. It never occurs to the believer in reincarnation that if his father, grandfather, and great grandfather, etc., had developed good karmas by their adherence to the same beliefs and ethics as his present ones, then why is he now living in privation rather than like Maharaja. Maharaja. Belief in reincarnation provides a beautiful fantasy world in which a person can find the proper avenue of ego expression, but at the same time claim to have dissolved their ego. This is emphasized by the roles people choose for themselves in their past or future lives. Believers in reincarnation do not always choose an honorable character. If the person is of a highly respectable and conservative nature, they will often choose a colorful rogue or gangster, thereby fulfilling their alter ego. Or a woman who has much social status may pick a harlot or famous courtesan for the characterization of herself in a past life. If people were able to divorce themselves from the stigma attached to personal ego fulfillment, they would not need to play self deceitful games such as belief in reincarnation as a means of satisfying their natural needs for ego fulfillment. The Satanist believes in complete gratification of their ego. Satanism, in fact, is the only religion which advocates the intensification or encouragement of the ego. Only if a person's own ego is sufficiently fulfilled can they afford to be kind and complimentary to others without robbing themselves of their self respect. We generally think of a braggart as a person with a large ego. In reality, their bragging results from a need to satisfy their impoverished ego. Religionists have kept their followers in line by suppressing their egos. By making their followers feel inferior, the awesomeness of their God is ensured. Satanism encourages its members to develop a good, strong ego because it gives them the self respect necessary for a vital existence in this life. If a person has been vital throughout their life and has fought to the end for their earthly existence, it is this ego which will refuse to die, even after the expiration of the flesh which housed it. Young children are to be admired for their driving enthusiasm for life. This is exemplified by the small child who refuses to go to bed when there's something exciting going on, and when once put to bed will sneak down the stairs to peek through the curtain and watch. If this childlike vitality that will it is this childlike vitality that will allow the Satanist to peek through the curtain of darkness and death and remain earthbound. Self sacrifice is not encouraged by the satanic religion. Therefore, unless death comes as an indulgence because of extreme circumstances which make the termination of life a welcome relief from an unbearable earthly existence, suicide is frowned upon by the satanic religion. Religious martyrs have taken their own lives, not because life was intolerable for them, but to use their supreme sacrifice as a tool to further religious belief. We must assume, then, that suicide, if done for the sake of the church, is condoned and even encouraged, even though the scriptures label it as a sin, because religious martyrs of the past have always been deified. It is rather curious that the only time suicide is considered sinful by other religions is when it comes as an indulgence. Religious holidays. Ugh. Yeah, I remember reading this passage in middle school. Yep, this one's fire. The highest of all holidays in the satanic religion is the date of one's own birth. This is in direct contradiction to the holy of holy days of other religions, which deify a particular god who has been created in an anthropomorphic form of their own image, thereby showing that the ego is not really buried. The Satanist feels, why not really be honest? And if you're going to create a God in your image, why not create that God as yourself? Every man or every person is a God if they choose to recognize themselves as one. So, the Satanist celebrates their own birthday as the most important holiday of the year. After all, aren't you happier about the fact you were born than you are about the birth of someone you have never even met? Or, for that matter, aside from religious holidays, why pay higher tribute to the birthday of a president or to a date in history than we do the date than to the day we were brought into the greatest of all worlds? Despite the fact that some of us may not have been wanted, or at least not particularly planned, We're glad, even if no one else is, that we're here. Amen to that. Fuck it. We're here. Cheers, everybody. Despite the fact, oh, yeah. You should give yourself a pat on the back, buy yourself whatever you want, treat yourself like the king or god that you are, and generally celebrate your birthday with as much pomp and ceremony as possible. After one's own birthday, the two major satanic birthdays are Walpurgisnacht and Halloween, or All Hallows Eve. Saint Walpurgis, or Walpurga, or Walburga, depending on the time and area in which one is referring to her, was born in Sussex about the end of the 7th or beginning of the 8th century and was educated in Winburn, Dorset, where, after taking the veil, she remained for 27 years. She then, at the insistence of her uncle, Saint Boniface, no, I barely Boniface, and her brother, Saint Willibald, set out along with some other nuns to found religious houses in Germany. Her first settlement was at Bischofsheim in the Diocese of Mainz. And 2 years later, 754 AD, she became abbess of the Benedictine nunnery at Heidenheim within her brother Willibald's diocese of Eichstätt in Bavaria, where goddamn, where another brother, Weinbald, had at the same time also been made head of a monastery. On the death of Weinbald in 760, she succeeded him in his charge, retaining the superintendence of both houses until her death on February 25th, 779. Oh, that's weird. Triple digits. Her relics were translated to Eichstätt, where she was laid in a hollow rock from which exuded a kind of bituminous, bituminous. Let's see.
Bituminous.
Bituminous, of containing or the nature of bitumen. Bituminous materials are dark brown or black, semi-solid or liquid, mixtures of hydrocarbons derived from natural or synthetic processes. Interesting. Okay. Kind of bituminous oil, afterwards known as Walpurgis oil, regarded as having miraculous efficacy against disease. The cave became a place of pilgrimage, and a great church was built over the spot. She is commemorated at various times, but principally on May 1st, her day taking the place of an earlier pagan festival. Amazingly enough, all of this rigmarole was found necessary simply to condone the continuance of the most important pagan festival of the year, the grand climax of the spring equinox. The eve of May has been memorialized as the night that all of the demons, specters, afrits, and banshees would come forth and hold their wild revels, symbolizing the fruition of the spring equinox. Halloween, All Hallows Eve, or All Saints' Day falls on October 31st or November 1st. Originally, All Hallows Eve was one of the great fire festivals. Whoa, dude, fire festival of Britain at the time of the Druids. In Scotland, it was associated with the time when the spirits of the dead, the demons, witches, and sorcerers, were unusually active and propitious. Gotta look that one up.
Propitious.
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 Propitious. giving or indicating a good chance of success. Favorable. Ah, okay, okay. Ah, unusually active and successful. Paradoxically, All Hallows Eve was also the night when young people performed magical rituals to determine their future marriage partners. The youth of the village carried on with much merrymaking and sensual revelry. But the older people took great care to safeguard their homes from the evil spirits, witches, and demons who had exceptional power that night. Excuse me. So gassy. The solstices and equinoxes are also celebrated as holidays, as they herald the first day of the seasons. The difference between a solstice and an equinox is a semantic one defining the relationship between the sun, moon, and the fixed stars. The solstice applies to the summer and winter, the equinox refers to the autumn and spring. The summer solstice is in June, and the winter solstice is in December. The autumn equinox is in September, and the spring equinox is in March. Both the equinoxes and the solstices vary a day or two from year to year, depending on the lunar cycle at the time, but usually fall on the 22nd, 21st, or 22nd of the month. 5 to 6 weeks after these days, the legendary satanic revels are celebrated. The Black Mass. No other single device has been associated with Satanism as much as the Black Mass. To say that the most blasphemous of all religious ceremonies is nothing more than a literary invention is certainly a statement which needs qualifying, but nothing could be truer. The popular concept of the Black Mass is thus: a defrocked priest, gotta look that up. Defrock.
Defrock.
Deprive a person in holy orders of ecclesiastical status, deprive someone of a professional status or membership of a prestigious group. So, a deprived priest stands before an altar consisting of a nude woman, her legs spread eagle and the vagina thrust open, each of her outstretched fists grasping a black candle made from the fat of unbaptized babies, and a chalice containing the urine of a prostitute or blood reposing on her belly. An inverted cross hangs above the altar, and triangular hosts of ergot-laden bread or black-stained turnip are methodically blessed as the priest dutifully slips them in and out of the altar lady's labia. Then, we are told, an invocation to Satan and various demons is followed by an array of prayers and psalms, chanted backwards or interspersed with obscenities, all performed within the confines of a protective pentagram drawn on the floor. If the devil appears, he is invariably in the form of a rather eager man wearing the head of a black goat upon his shoulders. Then follows a potpourri of flagellation. A lot of vocab tonight. A lot of vocab tonight.
Flagellation. Flagellation.
Flagellation. Flogging or beating, either as religious discipline or for sexual gratification. Huh. Notice how it's religious or sexual. Maybe sometimes both. Just saying. Okay, so flogging, prayer book burning, cunnilingus, fellatio, and general hindquarters kissing, all done to a background of ribald recitations.
Ribald.
Ribald, referring to sexual matters in an amusingly coarse or irreverent way. Ribald.
Ribald.
That's kind of so being crass about getting some pushy. That's funny. on the background of ribald recitations from the Holy Bible and audible Fuck off, dude. I can't even get fucking 3 words without having to look up a fucking vocab word. You goddamn fucking nerd. To discharge matter from the throat or lungs by coughing or hawking and spitting.
Expectorate.
Expectorations of the cross. If a baby can be slaughtered during the ritual, so much the better. For as everyone knows, this is the favorite sport of the Satanist. If this sounds repugnant, then the success of the reports of the Black Mass in keeping the devout in church is easy to understand. No decent person could fail to side with the inquisitors when told of these blasphemies. The propagandists of the church did their job well, informing the public at one time or another that the heresies and heinous acts of the pagans, Cathars, Bogomils, Templars, and others who, because of their dualistic philosophies and sometimes satanic logic, had to be eradicated. The stories of the unbaptized babies being stolen by Satanists for use in the Mass were not only effective propaganda measures, but also provided a constant source of revenue for the church in the form of baptism fees. No Christian mother would, upon hearing of these diabolical kidnappings, refrain from getting her child properly baptized post haste. Another facet of man's nature was apparent in the fact that the writer or artist with lewd thoughts could exercise their obscene predilections in the portrayal of the activities of heretics. The censor whose views all pornography, so that he will know what to warn others of, is the modern equivalent of the medieval chronicler of the obscene deeds of the Satanist, and, of course, the modern journalistic counterparts. It is believed that the most complete library of pornography in the world is owned by the Vatican. That's fucking funny, and I believe that. They probably got some crazy ass porno mags, dude. I gotta tap into the Vatican. The kissing of the devil's behind during the traditional Black Mass is easily recognized as the forerunner of the modern term used to describe one who will, through appealing to another's ego, gain material from him. As all satanic ceremonies were performed toward very real or material goals, the oscularium infame, or kiss of shame, oscularium infame maybe, was considered a symbolic requisite towards earthly rather than spiritual success. The unusual assumption is that the satanic ceremony or service is always called a Black Mass. A Black Mass is not the magical ceremony practiced by Satanists. The Satanist would only employ the use of a Black Mass as a form of psychodrama. Furthermore, a Black Mass does not necessarily imply that the performers of such are Satanists. A Black Mass is essentially a parody on the religious service of the Roman Catholic Church, but can be loosely applied to a satire on any religious ceremony. To the Satanist, the Black Mass, in its blaspheming of Orthodox rites, is nothing more than a redundancy. The services of all established religions are actually parodies of old rituals performed by the worshippers of the earth and the flesh. In attempts to desexualize and dehumanize the pagan beliefs, later men of spiritual faith whitewashed the honest meanings behind the rituals into the bland euphemisms now considered to be the true Mass. Even if the Satanists were to spend each night performing a Black Mass, they would be no more performing a travesty than the devout churchgoer who unwittingly attends their own Black Mass. His proof on the honest and emotionally sound right wait. His spoof on the honest and emotionally sound rites of a pagan antiquity. Ugh. Any ceremony considered a Black Mass must effectively shock and outrage, as this seems to be the measure of its success. In the Middle Ages, blaspheming the Holy Church was shocking. However, the Church does not represent the awesome image it did during the Inquisition. The traditional black mass is no longer the outrageous spectacle to the dilettante or renegade priest that it once was. If the Satanist wishes to create a ritual to blaspheme an accepted institution for the purpose of psychodrama, they are careful to choose one that is not in vogue to parody. Thus, they are truly stepping on a sacred cow. A black mass today would consist of the blaspheming of such sacred topics as Eastern mysticism, psychiatry, the psychedelic movement, ultraliberalism, etc. Patriotism would be championed, drugs and their gurus would be deified or defiled, acultural militants would be deified, and the decadence of ecclesiastical theologies might even be given a satanic boost. The satanic magus has always been the catalyst for the dichotomy necessary in molding popular beliefs, and in this case, a ceremony in the nature of a black mass may serve a far reaching magical purpose. In the year 1666, nice, some rather interesting events occurred in France. With the death of Francois Monsat, the architect of the trapezoid. So motherfucker figured out how to go. Okay. Whose geometrics were to become the prototype of the haunted house. The Palace of Versailles was being constructed in accordance with his plans. The last of the glamorous priestess of Satan, Jeanne Marie Bouvier, Madame Guyon, was to be overshadowed by a shrewd opportunist and callous businesswoman named Catherine de Chaise, otherwise known as La Voisin. La Voisin? Here was an erstwhile beautician who, while dabbling in abortions and purveying the most efficient poisons to ladies desirous of eliminating unwanted husbands or lovers, found in the lurid accounts of the messes noir a proverbial brainstorm. It is safe to say that the 1666 was the year of the first commercial black mass. In the region south of Saint Denis, which is now called La Garenne, a great walled house was purchased by Lavoisin and fitted with dispensaries, cells, laboratories, and a chapel. Soon it became de rigueur for royalty and later dilettantes to attend and participate in the very type of service mentioned earlier in this chapter. The organized fraud perpetuated, nope, perpetrated in these ceremonies has become indelibly marked in history as the true Black Mass. When Lavoisin was arrested on March 3rd, 1679, in Church of Our Blessed Lady of Good Tidings, incidentally, the die had already been cast. The degraded activities of Lavoisin had sifted the majesty of Satanism for many years to come. The Satanism for fun and games fad next appeared in England in the middle 18th century. In the middle 18th century, in the form of Sir Francis Dashwood's Order of the Manham Franciscans, popularly called the Hellfire Club. Ooh, okay, the Hellfire Club. That's fire. While eliminating the blood, gore, and baby fat candles of the previous century's masses, Sir Francis managed to conduct rituals replete with good dirty fun, and certainly provided a colorful and harmless form of psychodrama for many of the leading lights of the period. An interesting sideline of Sir Francis, which lends a clue to the climate of the Hellfire Club, was a group called the Dilettanti Club, of which he was the founder. It was the 19th century that brought a whitewashing to Satanism, in the feeble attempts of, quote, white magicians to try to perform, quote, black magic. This was a very paradoxical period for Satanism, with writers such as Baudelaire and Huysmans, who, despite their apparent obsession with evil, seemed nice enough fellows. The devil developed his Luciferian personality for the public to see, and gradually evolved into a sort of drawing-room gentleman. This was the era of, quote, experts on black arts, such as Eliphas Levi, and countless trance mediums who, with their carefully bound spirits and demons, have also succeeded in binding the minds of many who call themselves parapsychologists to this day. Oh, fuck it, I'll finish it. As far as Satanism was concerned, the closest outward signs of this were the neo-pagan rites conducted by MacGregor Mather's Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley's late Order of the Silver Star and Order of Oriental Templars, which paranoidally denied any association with Satanism, despite Crowley's self-imposed image as the Beast of Revelation. Aside from some rather charming poetry and a smattering of magical bric-a-brac, when not climbing mountains, Crowley spent most of his time as a poseur par excellence and worked overtime to be wicked. Like his contemporary Reverend Montague Summers, Crowley obviously spent a large part of his life with his tongue jammed firmly into his cheek, but his followers today are somehow able to read esoteric meaning into his every word. Perennially concurrent with these societies. Alright, fuck off with your vocab. This dude and his nerd words are breaking my brain. Perennially. In a way that continues for a long or apparently infinite time. Permanently. Okay. So permanently concurrent with these societies or the sex clubs using Satanism as a rationale that persists today, for which tabloid newspaper writers may give thanks. If it appears that the Black Mass developed from a literary invention of the Church to a depraved commercial actuality, to a psychodrama for dilettantes and iconoclasts, to an ace in the hole for popular media, then where does it fit into the true nature of Satanism? And who was practicing satanic magic in those years beyond 1666? The answer to this riddle lies in another. Is the person blank? And it has a little asterisk down here. Ordo Templi Orientis, Crowley's takeoff on the German sect of the same name, originally founded in 1902, and practicing some of the same principles set forth in this volume. Is the person generally considered to be a Satanist really practicing Satanism in its true sense, or rather from the point of view taken by the opinion makers of heavenly persuasion? It has often been said, and rightly so, that of all books about the devil, it has often been said, and rightly so, that all of the books about the devil have been written by the agents of God. It is, therefore, quite easy to understand how a certain breed of devil worshippers was created through the inventions of theologians. This erstwhile, quote, evil character is not necessarily practicing true Satanism. Nor are they a living embodiment of the element of untrampled pride or majesty of self, which gave the post-pagan world the churchman's definition of evil. They are instead the byproduct of a later and more elaborate propaganda. The pseudo-Satanist has always managed to appear throughout modern history, with their black masses of varying degrees of blasphemy, but the real Satanist is not quite so easily recognized as much. It would be an oversimplification to say every successful man and woman on earth is, without knowing it, a practicing Satanist. But the thirst for earthly success and its ensuing realization are certainly grounds for merit. Oh, wow, I made that way up. Holy shit. What the fuck? That's crazy. Earthly success and ensuing realization are certainly grounds for St. Peter turning thumbs down. If the rich man's entry into heaven seems as difficult as the camel's attempt to go through an eye of a needle, if the love of money is the root of all evil, then we must at least assume the most powerful men on earth to be the most satanic. This applies to financiers, industrialists, popes, poets, dictators, and all assorted opinion makers and field marshals of the world's activities, occasionally through leakages. One of the enigmatic men or women of Earth will be found to have dabbled in the black arts. These, of course, are brought to light as the mystery men of history. Names like Rasputin, Zaharoff, Cagliostro, Rosenberg, and their ilk are links, clues, so to speak, of the true legacy of Satan. A legacy which transcends ethnic, racial, and economic differences and temporal ideologies as well. The Satanist has always ruled the earth, and always will, by whatever name he is called. One thing stands sure. The standards, philosophies, and practices set forth on these pages are those employed by the most self-realized and powerful humans on earth. In the secret thoughts of each man and woman, still motivated by sound and unclouded minds, resides the potential of the Satanist, as has always been. The sign of the horns shall appear to many now, rather than the few, and the magician will stand forth that he may be recognized. All right. Then we're on a new book. Oh, okay, that's fine. Boom. Perfect place to put a little pin in. Yeah. A pin in. Yeah. Oh, man. I feel like we were reading for a good little grip. Oh, yeah, we're reading for a good little grip. Good little grip. Fuck yeah. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. If you did, comment. Mike Tyson. If you made it this far, Mike Tyson, or put a little glove emoji, like a boxing glove emoji. Yeah, Mike Tyson. Thank y'all for watching. I appreciate y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace out, y'all.